I was going to do dog grooming, but I figured you didn't work out as well. Alright, well I'm going to talk about another way to change the color of leaves today. Chainsaw. That just totally kills the thing. I don't know if anyone's ever used a chainsaw, probably a couple people in here have before. Pretty powerful tools. The disclaimer now, don't go buy one to try to use it, you'll probably cut your leg off. Dangerous. There's a lot of protective equipment when you're using them. We cut resistant pants, eye protection, ear protection. I go on for hours about this stuff. But for the sake of today, we're just going to go through some of the basic functions, features, and then a couple of easy maintenance techniques on it. Alright, so you got your basic chainsaw here. Spark plugs out, it won't start, I promise. You got the chain, sharp, rides on the bar. The power unit itself is where the engine is. Okay, your two-stroke mix, your oil, they're labeled, so if you ever have to fill one up, just look for these nice little symbols here. Won't be as confusing. On-off switch in the back, your choke, throttle control trigger, has a lock on it, so you have to have your full hand on it. If not, it won't go. Top bar, chain brake, really important, stop the chain from spinning. So that's your basic chainsaw. Let me get a couple things out of the back here real quick. So today we're going to be going over 3 different maintenance things that are really easy to do that help add to the cutting efficiency and the life of the saw. The first is sharpening the chain. Now you're going to know your chain's dull 2 different ways. It's pretty easy to tell. One is when you're cutting with a chainsaw, it takes a lot of pressure to cut through the wood. It means your saw is probably dull if you're putting a lot of strain on the saw to try to cut through. That only stresses the machine as well as puts extra effort on the operator. Very tiring. So you're going to want to sharpen if that's happening. The second way to know if it's dull is when you're cutting, the saw is producing a flake, like a shaving of wood coming out of the back. If it starts getting more sawdusty and fine, you're definitely going to want to sharpen it. So, to sharpen it, you got to get a file. The right size file, when you buy the chain, they'll tell you what size to use. This one's a 3/16 or something. The teeth alternate left to right. I don't know if you can see. That way or that way. You sharpen each one evenly. This makes the saw still cut straight. You're going to know it's sharp on the inside edge here. After you sharpen it, you'll see a nice even shine all the way across. So once you got that nice and sharp, you're going to want to check the tension of the chain. This is important for a couple different reasons. If your chain's too tight, once again, it's overstraining the engine and breaks down the chain, excessive heat, not good, don't want that. If it's too loose while you're cutting, it will fall off the bar and fly back at you. It won't hit you usually, but sometimes it can, it's not fun. To check the tension itself, it's pretty easy. Just lift up on the chain in the middle, and on the bottom here, there's these drive links. I don't know if you guys can see them. You're going to want to see about 1 full drive link on the bottom when you lift up from the center. So if you see 2 or more, it's too loose. If you can't even get it up to see a full one, it's too tight. Very easy to fix. On the side here, you got a couple nuts. Just loosen these a little bit. And on the outside here, there's this adjusting screw, and it moves the bar back and forth, which will change the tension of the saw itself. So that's how to tension it. The last thing we're going to go over is how to clean your air filter. Pretty important for proper engine function. If you're not getting air into the engine, it's not going to be performing as well. Once again, straining the saw, not adding to the life of it, and burning more fuel than you probably want to. A couple screws you just take off. This little thing's a scrunch. The American tradition, combining 2 things and cramming the name together. It's a screwdriver and a wrench. Very useful tool.
Like the spork, right?
Yeah, exactly. Americans love to do that kind of thing. Just put everything together. So you pop the top off, put it to the side, you get your air filter underneath. Comes off pretty easy. The bottom is where the actual filter itself is. To clean that, you can either use, I scrape it off a lot with using the scrunch, or you can use an air gun. If you have an air gun, blow it all off. Once it's clean, just put it all back on, lock everything back down, and that gives you a nice clean air filter. So using those 3 different techniques can help add to the life and cutting effectiveness of your saw, and that's all I got for you today.